Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend, and listeners worldwide. Welcome on in to another edition of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. It is a spooky edition as we are in the midst. We are leading up to Halloween coming up, everybody's favorite holiday where they celebrate and candy and dressing like ghosts and all that stuff. If you're a guy like me, Halloween is not your favorite. I am a petrified person. But before you can hear the voices laughing in the background, we do have Adin Ducker behind the glass running the show, my best friend. What's up, Adin?
What's Gucci with it?
We got Jerry Plemmons in the studio. Jerry Plemmons of Crossroads Clinical Research, our good friend, our honorary Sports Rush member. You are part of the crew, man.
Well, thanks,
I love it. I love having you here. It's always nice to have Jerry here. And we got a guest sitting in, listening to the show as well, Jerry's brother, Scott. So saying hi to Scott over there sitting down. Appreciate y'all guys being here this morning. It's a packed show, as always. And if you want to get in, hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397. I repeat, 361-882-5397. Hit us up on the text line with all of your sports takes. We're here for you. We're the show of the people here in Corpus Christi. Coming up in the first hour at 9:50, we're going to have, and it's kind of fitting that this is a Halloween-themed show, we're going to have an Astros obituary. We're going to talk about what happened to the Astros. Jerry's pretty happy about that. Dusty Baker's now gone. There are some managerial candidates out there. I kind of want to run down that list, and we could talk about who might be the best fit to lead the Astros going forward. At 9:30, college football talk. At 9:20, we got some NBA discussion. Going to give some NBA predictions, champions, all that stuff, and we're also going to look at Wembanyama's first couple of games because Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, they've been getting a lot of national spotlight, and Wemby has been showing out so far through 2 games, so I'm excited about that. Packed show today. Question of the day to the listening audience. What is the scariest / most tense moment you've ever had as a sports fan? The moment where you were sweating bullets, the moment where you didn't know if you were going to make it out alive as a sports fan. What is it? What is that moment? I've had a few moments like that. Most definitely a few moments like that. We've all been there as a sports fan where your heart is just pumping, the sweat on your brow. You don't know if you should fight or flight. It's one of those moments. So what is the scariest, most tense sports moment you've had? 361-882-5397. Speaking of scary, Texas Rangers have been pretty scary. The Texas Rangers are in the World Series. The Texas Rangers...
Is that hard for you to say?
It's not that hard anymore for me to accept. You talked to me on Monday of this week or Tuesday of this week, I was distraught. I was heartbroken. It's one of the toughest sports losses I've ever had, considering the fact that the Rangers whooped the Astros in Game 7.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a contest. It was over in the first inning when Framber Valdez couldn't get out of that inning, and the Astros had to automatically go to Javier, excuse me. Sorry, Framber pitched decent in Game 6, but Javier couldn't get out.
Considering how much struggles Framber had, he pitched relatively well. Now, he still didn't pitch like lights out.
The elite pitcher he's supposed to be.
The Astros bats failed them in Game 6, and then Game 7 was just a complete team collapse.
Yep, and of course we will have our obituary of the Astros coming up later on in the show. But right now I wanted to talk about the World Series because we do have a 1-1 tied series. Last night, the Diamondbacks, they got the victory. The 9-1 victory over the Rangers, and Corbin Carroll and all those young kids, Gurriel Jr., the young catcher, what's his name, Gabby.
Moreno.
Yeah, they looked pretty good, man. But the Rangers on Friday night, they put on a show. And I kind of want to highlight what happened on Friday night because there were some pretty cool moments in that game. Rangers were down 5-3 on Friday. 1 out, runner on. Corey Seager, the multi-million-dollar man who they signed a couple of seasons back for this very moment, steps up to the plate at Globe Life Field, and then this happens courtesy of Joe Davis and Fox.
Could tie it with one swing. High drive! It's tied!
Absolutely wrecked it. As soon as the ball left the bat, the angle of the swing, the launch angle, as the analysts like to say, Jerry, you could tell it was gone. I was watching that game live with my dad and my brother, having a couple of beveraginos, if you know what I'm talking about. And I said, damn, that really just happened. And that, I am not a Rangers fan, but that made me feel something as a sports fan, Jerry.
It was incredible because the Diamondbacks bullpen, the whole playoffs has just been lights out dominant. And I thought, again, the 18,000th time, the Rangers are not going to be able to pull this one out. And they did it. That's the crazy part.
That is the crazy part. And then fast forward, we go to the 11th inning. The man who is the equivalent to Michael Myers to me, because this guy just always shows up when you least expect, or now when you most expect, right? Because he's been that guy this postseason. The 11th inning, Adolis Garcia steps up and wins the game for the Texas Rangers.
Adolis Garcia sends one the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall, and the legend grows. Adolis Garcia wins game one.
Special. Moments like that are special as a sports fan. And I wrote this down because I knew I was going to talk about this on Sunday. I'm not a Rangers fan, but I am a fan of sport. I'm a fan of baseball. It was one of those moments where you tip your hat and you say, you know what? He's that guy. He is him.
Yeah.
It was a hat tip of all hat tips. Prior to last night's game, Adolis had 6 home runs, a grand slam to force ALCS Game 7, a 2-run home run, which, you know, to advance to the World Series, and now a walk-off home run. It's just, Adolis is having himself a postseason of all postseasons.
Out of nowhere.
Plemmons.
Out of nowhere. That's the crazy part, is that he's just he's just a guy, I think. He's not spectacular, but when he puts it together, he can do amazing things.
I will say that he's not, in my opinion, just a guy when he plays the Astros.
Well, yeah.
Because he's traditionally an Astros killer, and he's been like that for the past couple of seasons against the Astros.
And Dusty kept pitching to him. He kept pitching to him. He kept pitching to him. He kept pitching to him.
Yes, I don't understand that. The Astros, why did they keep doing that?
I don't get it.
Even the Rangers stopped pitching to Jordan after a while.
Well, look, Bruce Bochy, and credit to Bruce Bochy, 3-0 all-time in World Series prior to this one. Of course, they're in the middle of it. It's a 1-1 series right now, but...
Yeah, the Diamondbacks, they kind of like with the Rangers when they lost that heartbreaker to the Astros in Game 5 and they responded. Diamondbacks responded very well to that. That could have been one of those where it was soul crushing, a gutted loss that they can't recover from. Diamondbacks are very pesky, and this series is gonna go at least 6, I believe.
You know what I noticed last night from the Diamondbacks when I was watching Game 2, their 9-1 victory over the Texas Rangers? These guys are very aggressive on the base paths. Like, they steal bags. They're fast. They're young.
They remind me of those Royals teams back from 14 and 15.
Yes.
They're just small ball oriented, a very solid bullpen.
So last night, Corbin Carroll went 2 for 5, had a couple of RBIs. The guy who really had a show last night was Psycho Tommy Pham. 4 for 4, 2 runs. He was hitting the ball all over the place. Uliski Gurriel Jr., 2 for 3, an RBI, a run scored. And then their catcher, Moreno, 1 for 4. He had the solo jack in that ball game. And then Merrill Kelly, 7 innings pitched.
He was dominant.
3 hits, 9 strikeouts.
That was a top pitching performance. He was hitting the outside edges of the strike zone all night, didn't walk anybody. The Rangers had no answer.
You know what's concerning for me with the Rangers? Game 1, they touched up Eovaldi.
Yeah.
Game 2, they got to Jordan Montgomery. Both of those guys leading up to this in the wild card, divisional, and league championship series had been pretty much untouchable. And now you see in the World Series, the Rangers' 2 aces, both of them got hit pretty well by the Diamondbacks.
Here's the thing. you're using the wrong word with them. They're not aces. Jordan Montgomery is a 5th starter for the Yankees that they just threw away. The Cardinals didn't want him. I don't understand how Montgomery came out of nowhere to do what he's doing. And Eovaldi, when he was the Red Sox, he was trash for them. So the Rangers having those two guys leading their starting rotation in the World Series is crazy to me, and crazy the Astros couldn't get to them.
361-882-5397. Give us your thoughts on Rangers and Diamondbacks. It's a 1-1 series heading to the desert. I believe Game 2 is tomorrow night, or Game 3, excuse me, is tomorrow night.
Yes.
And we are looking at a Max Scherzer start that is upcoming. And I believe the Rangers will be throwing Max Scherzer, and the Diamondbacks will be throwing
Brandon Fat.
Yeah, how do you say his
Fats?
name? P-F-A-A-D-T.
The guy that shut down the Phillies in his 2 starts against them.
Brandon, I'm going to say Fat.
Yeah.
Like Fat
Why
with
not?
the DT at the end. I guess so. That's going to be your pitching matchup for game number 3.
Yeah, the Rangers, I had them winning in 6, but they're in trouble right now. I fully believe so.
I mean, without the Seager game-tying home run and those heroics, dude, they're down 0-2 right now. Like, the Diamondbacks, honestly, through 2 games played, the Rangers won game 1, but through 2 games played, I feel that the Diamondbacks have been the better baseball team in this series.
I would say so. Now, I can't, the Rangers, whenever it looks like that things are slipping away from them, they respond back. I expect them to respond back game 3, and because they obviously have been playing a lot better on the road than they have, at home. So I believe they'll respond back and win game 3.
Scherzer scares me because Dusty Baker even said in the broadcast his slider is junk.
By the time we come back to this show next week, the series will be over because a potential Game 7 will be played on Saturday night. By the time we come back, who's the World Series champion, Adin?
I got to stick with the Rangers in 6.
Okay.
I just feel like
You still believe.
Bochy being the manager is the reason why.
Can they take you higher?
Yeah.
What about you, Jerry? Are you still believing?
I don't know. I don't. I want to say the
Jerry,
Rangers.
you're wearing your Ranger shirt right now, Jerry
I'm a
Plemmons.
diehard but the Rangers have let me down. Here, real quick, the sports manual for the Astros, you have 7 years of champions and rings. My sports manual for the Rangers is dusty and moldy. There's nothing there. They literally have done nothing, and to expect them to, I don't know.
Jerry doesn't want to get his heart broken. He's not trying to buy. I get you. You don't want to go 100% in.
I don't.
I understand.
So honestly, if you put a gun in my head, I think the Diamondbacks. I don't know if they have an answer for that.
You're a battered sports fan. It's
am.
okay. We can talk this out. We're gonna get you some, assistance. It's gonna be all right, Jerry Plemmons. You got to believe in your team, man.
All because Nelson Cruz couldn't catch a routine fly ball.
There you go. There's my answer for
2011.
your sports question right there.
2011. You know what's so funny about that? The anniversary happened, I think, this past week.
Yeah.
It happened. Yeah, I believe it was during game 1.
Yeah, and it was on Twitter. I mean, the X. And yeah, I saw the replay and I was like, damn, I remember exactly where I was when that happened. That was one of those where you're at moments when that happened. And
I mean, it wasn't the easiest catch in the world, but
it wasn't.
A good right fielder makes that catch.
Yeah.
They were going to put a defensive replacement in, and he didn't do it.
I mean, look, Nelson Cruz looked like Kyle Tucker a little bit out there. Because Kyle Tucker, defensively this past series was all right. Wasn't the best. But there we go. All right. I will say that by the time we come back, Snakes in 6. Diamondbacks in 6.
Snake. We need that drop, by the way. Get it. If the Diamondbacks win next week or this week, give me that sounder of the guy going snaky.
We'll see.
Snaky snake.
361-882-5397. Give us your thoughts on the World Series when we come back. Wembanyama is turning heads in the NBA through 2 games. Our thoughts and observations from the NBA through 1 week of play is next. Keep it locked. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 138. James Espinosa, Adin Ducker, and Jerry Plemmons with you. Rocking with you till 11 o'clock. We are getting you ready for Cowboys and Rams. We do have the pregame starting directly after the show at 11 a.m. Kickoff at 12 p.m. with Brad Sham, Babe Loffenberg, and Christy Scales. Make sure you keep it locked to Keys all morning and all afternoon long, because even after the Cowboys game on the Dallas Cowboys radio network, they have a 3-hour postgame show, which is a long postgame show. But yes, it will be there. We will have it on Keys.
Turn the audio down on your TV and turn the radio. That's what I do.
Yeah, you're right about that. You are right about that, Jerry. We gotta listen to Brad and the boys, Babe and the boys. And all of them. So there we go. We will talk some Cowboys and Rams coming up in the second hour. We will scout the Rams and give you our official predictions on today's contest. We have a question of the day, and it is, what is the scariest moment you've ever had in sports? The most tense moment you've had as a sports fan, or maybe even as a participant in a game? Some of you guys were athletes out there who are listening, I imagine. Now, hitting up my Facebook page where I posted this question. This comes from Jared. Jared says the scariest / most tense moment he's ever had as a sports fan was being a Bulls fan during the early 2000s and 2010s. Rough scene. A little bit of a rough scene post-Jordan.
That's more
scary.
like the team is so bad, it was rough and scary, I guess.
Yeah, it was hard to watch.
There's two ways you can answer this question, where there was a game, like a pivotal game where your team barely squeaked it out, but it was so tense. And then there's where it's like, okay, the team just flat out sold, and it haunts my dreams to this day. It's kind of like the Astros at home this year.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
That was tense. That was scary.
Yeah.
Richard's in here. Richard says Gordon Hayward's Celtics debut injury.
Yikes! Yeah, I remember.
Is that where he shattered his leg in half?
Yeah, it was. I believe the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game it happened.
Ugh, that's scary. I guess mine would be when Dak broke his ankle or leg, and it snapped in half. That was pretty tense and scary times for the Cowboys, especially the rest of that season with Andy Dalton as a starting quarterback. That was scary.
That whole season.
Yeah, that was horrible.
And then for me,
that was a horror movie.
That was a horror movie.
It was.
And then for me, real quick, was the Ravens almost blowing the Super Bowl to the Niners after the lights went out. They squeaked it out, but that was very scary.
Ooh,
and also the Ravens injury report always scares me every week.
That too.
Yeah.
Every time Jerry Jones talks, that's a scary moment for me. And also kind of a good moment. It's a little bit of both. So if you have any scary sports moments, the most tense sports moments you've ever had as a fan, let us know on the Sports Rush. The text line is 361-882-5397.
You gotta get that. You gotta get that voice down that I got.
There we go.
Remember the voice I usually use whenever I pretend I see something that's haunting? Yeah.
I don't know how we transition from that, but let's talk NBA, I suppose, right? Because Wembanyama and the Spurs, you want to talk about someone who's going to be scary in the league for years to come. It's San Antonio's own Wembanyama, who's looking like Slenderman out there, 7'5", just wreaking havoc on people. This past week, they had a close loss to the Mavs on Wednesday night in the debut. Wembanyama actually matched Tim Duncan's first overall game. They kind of matched numbers exactly to the T. 15 points, 2 assists. Both were 6 of 9 shooting in their NBA debut. So everybody, of course, is like, oh, the correlation. Such a coincidence. Wemby's going to be the next great one. Cool, right? Spurs lost 126-119 to the Mavs. They gave it away. Defense sold at the end.
Yeah, Luka went off.
Luka and Kyrie just kind of ate in those last 2 minutes. Spurs had no answers. Spurs couldn't get Wembanyama the ball in the last 2 minutes for some reason. Couldn't find him at all. And I think that's going to be something that this Spurs core of the Keldons, the Vassels, the Sohans, and the Trey Jones, they're going to have to understand, it's not about us anymore. If we have the opportunity to take the shot, yes. But if you have your hot hand rookie who is doing quite well in that fourth quarter, get him the ball.
Do you think Pop trusts him this early?
I would say so. Pop this past Friday in their win against the Rockets, Popovich played him 31 minutes. Yeah. And Wembanyama had 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks. He was 7 of 19 from the field, played 31 minutes of ball.
Yeah, but trust him the last 2 minutes of a game?
He did this last game because Wembanyama did tie it up in the last 2 minutes. And then in overtime, Wembanyama he went off, and the Spurs ended up winning against the Rockets 126-122. Now, there was an epic moment that has been going around on Twitter. It is the double block that Wembanyama had of Jabari Smith Jr. Here it is. We got the audio from Bill Land, Sean Elliott of the Bally Sports Southwest Spurs crew.
Rockets advantage. Smith. Oh my! Blocked by Wemby. Blocked again by Wemby. Get it out of here!
It's double block, Jerry. He went for the jam. He was going to posterize Wemby. Like, that was a posterized, I'm going for it. Wemby jumped, stuffed him, boom.
He also had this really sick reverse dunk.
Yes.
Earlier in the game, and it was a back and forth game, but I liked Wemby establishing himself in the clutch time. You know, for the first 3 quarters wasn't really involved in the offense.
Yeah,
he focused on defense, but when the going got tough, they went to Wemby, and that's a great sign.
It's a great sign because I see a guy who wants the ball in his hands in clutch time. Like Adin mentioned, the first 3 quarters, Wemby had 8 points on 3 of 12 shooting. Not great. Fourth quarter and overtime comes around. Wemby had 13 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, and a steal in the fourth quarter and overtime, and just pretty much took over, led the Spurs to victory. Now, Devin Vassell also has emerged as
let's talk about him.
As the Robin to Wemby's Batman. Vassell had 25 points, 3 rebounds in the win against the Rockets. In the loss against the Mavericks, Vassell had 21 points.
And I told James I think he's going to average 21 points a game this year.
I think it's the Wemby and Vassell. It's them.
And Keldon, he's rising his talent level to those around him. So
He is. I just think right now the Spurs are going to build around Wemby and Vassell, and everybody else needs to start to fit in before you get out. It's all about building around these two,
That's what
in my
you want
opinion.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Keldon, the Sohans, the Trey Joneses, it's not a guarantee those guys are on the roster in a year or two. It's not. It's Wemby and Vassell. Everybody else needs to kind of fit in around them and see how they work. So there we go. Just a quick Wemby update, quick Spurs update. They're 1-1. They play tonight against the Clippers right here on News Talk KEYS. When we come back, college football talk. Keep it locked. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 138. James Espinosa, Adin Ducker, and Jerry Plemmons with you. Jerry, you're at Crossroads Clinical Research. You are the guy.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going down, man. What's happening at Crossroads?
We're getting ready to start some more obesity studies. So if you got a little more weight than you're comfortable with, give us a call. We have some incredible. I'm telling you, the future for weight loss medications is going to be so great. The stuff we're doing things, it blows your mind. So if you want to be a part of it, give me a call. We'll come by, fill out some paperwork, put you on our list, and when these weight loss studies start, we'll get you first in line.
How can they reach to you, Jerry?
Sure. The best thing is to call us at 288-4668, 288-4668, or go to our website at the number 3cra.com. If you're a little bit overweight and want to get some of these weight loss medications in you, see how they work, give us a call. In the next few months, we're going to have quite a few of them going.
There we go. Thank you, Jerry Plemmons. Of course, Crossroads Clinical Research. Make sure you guys hit them up. And we appreciate y'all guys always sponsoring the Sunday Sports Rush. All right.
R.I.P. Matthew Perry.
R.I.P. Matthew Perry, dead at the age of 54. Apparently, they found him passed away from drowning, is the report, I believe.
Yeah.
And, of course, Matthew Perry, the longtime actor, comedian, most notably known for his role as Chandler Bing in Friends.
Now, this is the show that you watch a lot.
I watched all the episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just a Friends P1. That's what I was. It's, it's silly. It is what it is, right? It's sitcom comedy, but back in the day, it was really good. And
Did you ever watch
this is a
Friends?
tough one.
I'm familiar with the show. I really wasn't a huge fan of it, but I watched it.
Of course, Matthew Perry, also known for his addictions to methadone and cocaine and Xanax, and he almost died back in 2019 from an overdose. But R.I.P. to Matthew Perry.
Remember, he had a show after that where he was a sports talk radio guy. You remember that?
No.
Yeah, for
what?
I think I forgot the name, but Jerry. Yeah. I'm familiar with what Jerry's saying.
Interesting.
Real quick before we talk sports, one of my favorite shows, an underrated gem, was News Radio.
Yes, that was such a good show.
It's
and when Phil Hartman passed, That would hurt.
But
When you
but
when you got
us,
capped.
Yeah.
But us being in the news top business, like whoever wrote that show knew what they were talking about, man. It was so genius. But
yeah, go catch it. It's available.
So R.I.P. to Matthew Perry. Stay hard, Matthew.
That hurt? Is that one that's like
Stay hard
for you?
Yeah, it's all right.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sad about it. Yes,
Well,
very,
Jennifer Aniston
very
passed.
sad about
That'd
it.
hurt you a little
yeah,
bit worse.
that
so.
would have definitely put a damper on my spirits for sure. Annette's in on the text line 361-882-5397. Annette has a scary/tense sports moment she wants to let us know about. She says when Tony Romo fumbled the ball on that kick to win the game in the playoffs against Seattle. That is Annette's scariest/most tense sports moment. It is our Halloween theme. So if you have any scary or tense sports moments, get them in on the text line 361-882-5397. We appreciate you, Annette, for getting in. That was a rough moment for me. That was a scarring moment for me as a kid.
Yeah,
I was like 17 years old when that happened.
Yeah, and I'm gonna wait on whoever is gonna say Aaron Rodgers for the just him straight up for Cowboys fans.
Oh, he's the boogeyman.
Boogeyman,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the boogeyman. You don't say Aaron Rodgers' name 3 times. Don't say it 3 times, or else he will appear and throw a game-winning touchdown pass against you.
Yeah. I don't know what he has against the Cowboys.
Aaron
and
Rodgers.
Bears.
Aaron Rodgers. No. I almost said it. Almost said it 3 times.
He'd be the greatest quarterback ever if he just played the Cowboys and Bears.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Let's talk college football, shall we, on this Halloween-themed edition of the Sunday Sports Rush. Because yesterday was week 9 of the college football slate. And let's go ahead and start off with the top 10, right? Let's start off. The world's biggest cocktail party, or world's largest cocktail party, whatever they call it. Georgia, number 1, against Florida, unranked. Georgia wins 43-20. Carson Beck went off, 315, 2 touchdowns. But their running back is the one, Dawan Edwards. He had himself quite the game yesterday. 15 carries, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Georgia, I mean, until they're beaten down, I don't see anybody that's going to take him out this year again. They might three-peat,
Possibly three-peat. They would be the first ever team to do it. A three-peat, I think, in possibly the modern era.
Yeah, even Bama didn't I know
No.
Bama won 3 and 4 years, but I don't think you've ever three-peated now.
Number
Yeah.
2, Michigan had the week off. They're trying to handle some spying allegations.
Yeah,
That's kind of getting pretty deep and weird.
Yeah.
We'll cover that in a later show, but they were off.
It's not good.
No, it's not. Number 3, Ohio State goes into Wisconsin and wins 24-10. Ohio
Yeah.
State still looking pretty impressive. Kyle McCord, 226, 2 touchdowns. Did throw 2 interceptions, but Travion Henderson, the running back for Ohio State, 24 carries on 162 yards, a touchdown. And Marvin Harrison Jr., 6 for 123 receiving, 2 touchdowns.
Man,
They're loaded, bro.
What
That team
happened-
is loaded.
Always loaded, though.
What happened to Wisconsin? I know they weren't like a playoff contender, but they used to be a very stout football team.
They brought in Luke Fickell from Cincinnati. And
No, but even then, like there was a downward spiral.
I mean,
with
look,
Wisconsin.
I'm pretty
Even-
sure we can ask Alex Weister about Wisconsin football, but this is Wisconsin football.
I mean, nobody knows more about rooting for
But
teams with
historically
downward spirals
speaking,
than Alex,
Wisconsin football is a perennial loser.
so, yeah.
What have they ever done?
Well,
I mean, they've won a
Alvarez's
couple.
time,
They've won a couple of Rose Bowls here and there. Yeah, okay, but they're kind of just a mid team.
and they caught it when Michigan was down too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, Florida State continues to roll on. They remain undefeated. 41-16 win over Wake Forest. Jordan Travis had 353 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Florida State, I called it in the preseason. I know ball, Jerry Plemmons. I made my preseason prediction. I said Florida State's winning the ACC, and I said Florida State's winning the national championship.
Well,
and look what's happening right now.
Yeah, but they're still
James Stradamus. What do you mean? They've passed every test.
so far.
So far, yeah.
Just saying. Does someone know ball or not?
It looks looking good.
I mean, Pick'em says otherwise, but I guess you know.
I
a
know
little bit-
college ball.
Yeah. I kind of really can't talk because I had LSU in the title game, and that's not going to happen.
Number 5, Washington escapes a gritty Stanford team, 42-33. This one was a little bit closer than the final score appeared. It was 35-33 Washington late in the game. Washington gets a touchdown with about a minute and a half left to extend the lead to 9 points.
Yeah, Washington after that win against Oregon, they're starting to struggle a little bit there. They're probably due for a loss the way they're playing right now.
It doesn't look good for them. And Oregon, we'll get to their score here in a moment. They look damn impressive. Number 6, Oklahoma, falls to unranked Kansas, 38-33, and what had to have been probably the most exciting game of the day. Jason Bean, 218 yards passing for Kansas. He threw 2 interceptions. And yeah, it was just one of those crazy games. Oklahoma didn't look great. Their defense was just getting shredded by Kansas.
Dylan Gabriel started off very slow.
And they fall to Kansas, in Kansas. And that is a loss. Now Oklahoma's ranked number 6. We'll see how far they fall. And that is big for the Texas Longhorns because now Texas is right in the thick of a Big 12 championship once again. So big time that Choklahoma lost to Kansas.
Yeah, assuming Oklahoma and UT finish out the regular season without any more losses, that game is going to determine who's going to take a playoff spot.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so. Number 8, Oregon defeats number 13, Utah, 35-6. Oregon looked really good.
Oregon usually struggles against Utah. It's usually a close game where they lose, so I was impressed with how they performed.
But since they've lost to Washington, they just kind of been beating teams up.
Oh, man, it sucks because both Oregon and Washington are in the Pac-12 North in the same division.
Yeah.
I'm hoping other teams start losing so we can potentially see Oregon slide back because it can be hard for them to make the Pac-12 conference title game because you're sharing the same division as Washington.
Number 10, Penn State beats number 24 number unranked Indiana, 33-24, I should say. So Penn State, pretty good win for them against Indiana. But now let's talk Texas. Number 7, Texas gets the win, 35-6 over BYU, and this was a game where Maalik Murphy made his college football starting debut. 35-6 win. Maalik Murphy didn't look too hot. But it was a solid performance nonetheless. He was 16 of 25 through the air for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of them went to Adonai Mitchell, and we have one of those touchdown passes to Adonai Mitchell. It was right before the half with about 1 minute to go. Texas is up 14. Texas is up here at this moment 14-3, and then it's Murphy to Mitchell for 30 yards, and Texas goes up 21-3.
Murphy throws a deep ball into the end zone. He's got Mitchell, and it's caught. Adonai Mitchell with the Texas touchdown.
So Murphy looked all right. He did throw 1 interception when he was under pressure. He did fumble also on a strip sack. Got to protect the ball a little bit if you're the young man out there, but he looked okay. It wasn't anything like dynamic, explosive. It was a first-year quarterback starting. It was one of those games you can expect. And they ended up blowing out BYU. Texas got 3 turnovers defensively.
Yeah.
They turned those 3 turnovers into 21 points, which is exactly how the doctor drew it up. Pete Kwiatkowski in that defense held BYU to 4.5 yards per play, and the defense overall for Texas had 12 tackles for loss.
Yeah, y'all should just be glad y'all finally beat BYU.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, we all know the Taysom Hill. That's another scary situation for UT fans.
That's a good moment right there. A good possible scary moment going up to Provo and having to play BYU up there. That's scary for multiple reasons. Jonathan Brooks, 98 yards on 16 carries, 1 touchdown. Michael Taffy, Terrence Brooks had interceptions. Jere Bledsoe had a fumble recovery. Xavier Worthy had a punt return for a touchdown. That was very nice right there. That got the scoring kicked off for Texas. So look, it's a good conference win. Anytime you can beat a team 35-6 in conference play, you're happy about that. And now Texas moves on to play Kansas State next week in Texas. This is truly, winner of this game will probably go to Arlington into the Big 12 championship game because Kansas State and Texas are both tied right now, record-wise, with OU.
And this ain't no gimme either, Kansas State.
No, it's not. And it'll be one of Maalik Murphy's first test. Quinn Ewers is not supposed to play. So this could be a scary situation also, as Kansas State is 4-1 in the Big 12, and Kansas State is coming off of a 41-3 win over TCU and a 41-0 win over Houston. And they haven't allowed a touchdown in the last 9 quarters. That's that Kansas State defense.
Yeah.
Tough.
The game hasn't started yet, but I can already see UT being in a little bit of trouble here.
Texas made it to the red zone 5 times, scored twice.
Yeah, it's not going to be
Not
Kansas
the best.
State.
Kind of a Dallas Cowboys effort, if you ask me, with their red zone woes. So there we go. That pretty much wraps up our college football segment. I'll give my top 4 real quick because I teased it. My top 4 in the country is as follows. Number 1, I'll still give it to Georgia. Respect to the champs. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Florida State. I think they're the second best team in the country. Number 3, I'll go Michigan. Number 4, Ohio State. That's my top 4, but eventually Michigan, Ohio State, one of them's going to knock each other out.
Yes. Yeah.
And that could open the door for Washington or maybe even a Texas.
I mean, there's only 5 undefeated teams left, so it's basically those teams. Washington on the outside.
Washington, Oregon.
Well, Oregon has a loss.
It's Washington, Texas, and OU on the outside looking in my humble opinion.
And then Bama's always going to look around. They're probably going to be 8th. So
361-882-5397. Get your takes in on the text line. What is the most scariest, most tense moment you've had as a sports fan? We'll get to your reactions after the break. 361-882-5397. Coming up next, though, guys, it's time that we lay this team to rest. The 2023 Astros. Let's throw some dirt on them. Let's throw some little sand on their casket. It's 2023. The season's over. We talk Astros going forward. Next segment. Episode 138 of the Sunday Sports Rush. It's our Halloween edition. It's James, it's Adin, it's Jerry Plemmons. We promise not to scare you too much out there. Although if you take a look at us in person, you might be a little scared. That's why we're radio guys. Mommy always told me I had a face for radio. You know what? She was damn right about that. Shout out to my mom, Ned Espinosa. Her birthday is tomorrow.
Shout out to your kid.
Yes, thank you, Jerry. My son just turned 4 years old on Friday. So that's awesome. It was a very emotional type of day for me. You know, as we get out of the toddler years, it's just a different feeling, right? But you still got to cherish every moment you have. So it was a good time. And then, of course, my mom's birthday's tomorrow. So happy birthday to my mother. Love you so much, Mom. I appreciate all the support you've ever had for me and continue to have for me and this show. She's a big listener of the show as well. So, of course. So there we go. We got some scary moments rolling in. What is the most tense and scary moment you've had as a sports fan? Zachary's in here. Zachary says, 4th and 5, Texas versus USC in the Rose Bowl.
Good one.
Vince Young to the corner of the end zone. He's got it. Yes, talk about tense. That was incredible.
That whole
tense.
game was tense.
That was amazing. We got Bobby in here. Bobby says, Game 6, 2011 World Series, Rangers 1 strike away from winning it all, was the most tense. Nothing scares me in sports after that letdown.
That's mine too. And we talked about the Nelson Cruz, and then the next inning, Josh Hamilton hits the home run.
Yes.
They're back. They got it, and then Dave Freese just ruins everything.
He also goes on to say Spurs 2013 Game 7 was similar.
Well, Game 6 with Ray Allen.
Game 6 with Ray Allen was my most wow, I'm nervous. But even at that Game 7, if you recall 2013 Game 7 of the NBA Finals, dude, Tim Duncan had himself a hell of a game. Tim Duncan did everything that he could to will the Spurs to victory, but LeBron James was just a little bit too much. I believe LeBron ended up dropping, 36, 37, or 38 points in that Game 7. And then had the game-winning jumper in the last few moments to ice the game. Tough scene for Spurs fans. But, of course, a redemption arc a year later happened, and they got the victory. So there we go. The bad guy did go down eventually. I did want to talk a little bit of Astros. Astros, of course, are done. It's over. And Dusty Baker is now retired as manager of the Houston Astros. And before I don't want to throw dirt on Dusty entirely. I did question a lot of his managerial decisions, and they kind of reared their ugly head in the playoffs. Not pinch hitting for Maldonado in the 4th inning with runners on, and you need a big base hit. You let Maldonado continue to hit. Maybe not the best call. Maybe not pulling Justin Verlander a little bit early. I don't know. There's a lot of things that happened. Not throwing in Urquidy after after Christian Javier couldn't even get it out the first inning. Why didn't he go to Urquidy? Urquidy was available. Urquidy played later on in the game. Instead, they went to Hunter Brown and JP France.
Yeah,
that was a weird move.
And then when Hunter Brown started settling a little bit, then you pull him, and then JP France just didn't have it as well.
Yeah, you could have went to Urquidy right away.
Yeah.
But he didn't. So, for all of that being said, I think Dusty Baker did the best that he could, and he got them a World Series. And look, I'm thankful for Dusty Baker because he managed a scandal, and he kept the Astros respectable, at least, in my opinion. You know, he brought the Astros back to the World Series, won a World Series, still kept the winning tradition going. In 4 years, Dusty Baker reached the ALCS 4 times, won 3 consecutive West Division titles, 2 pennants, 1 World Series, beating the Phillies last year in Game 6. He is the oldest manager to win a World Series, so shout out to Dusty Baker. What he did with the Astros cannot be ignored.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest Astros manager in the history of their franchise.
2 Game 7s away from 4 straight World Series appearances.
Exactly. So nothing to shake a stick at, but still, some of his in-game tactics, it's fair to question them. And a lot of Astros fans have questioned them because, let's face facts, he did make some boneheaded moves at times. Now, he's gone. There's a new era upcoming. Who's going to replace Dusty Baker is the question. We got some candidates. Here's a short list. You got Craig Counsell, Brewers manager. You got Joe Espada, the current Astros bench coach. Mark Kotsay, the current A's manager. Rodney Linares, the Tampa Bay Rays bench coach and also former Corpus Christi Hooks manager.
Yeah, so he used to be in the Astros organization.
Omar Lopez, the current Astros first base coach. You got guys like Brad Osmus, who's heavily rumored to be in because he's best friends with Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah, Bagwell just saunter over somewhere else and
You got guys like Don Mattingly, Buck Showalter, reportedly interested. I don't want Buck Showalter. There's something about me. I don't know if Buck Showalter would fit.
He's like a homeless man's Dusty.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Buck.
I don't even think he's managed a team into a World Series appearance.
Jeff Bannister, the former Rangers manager and current Diamondbacks bench coach.
I mean, stay with the Diamondbacks.
If I had to pick, this is my short list, my extreme short list. Craig Counsell.
Really?
Joe Espada. Rodney Linares. I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I think the Astros are going to end up going with Joe Espada. But if they went outside the organization, I'm not mad if they go with Craig Counsell because he's been a winner in Milwaukee. He's done some good things up there. He's won division titles. He's took them to the playoffs.
Yeah, but he hasn't done much past that.
That's true.
I will say that the Brewers don't have the best roster. I know they have a good pitching staff, but they don't usually have the best roster, and he still leads them into the playoffs.
Who's going to be the manager, Adin, whenever this thing is decided?
Man, I'm so worried about Osmus, man, but I think it's going to be a spot at the end of the day.
You think it's going to be a spot?
I think that Game 5 performance when Dusty got ejected and the moves he made to get that win, I think that's his resume right there.
I think it's Joe Espada. He knows the clubhouse. He knows everything, the ins and outs. But at the same time, there's a part of me that wants fresh. I want fresh eyes. I want a hard coach in there. A little bit of fresh eyes. Keep these guys accountable, and not so much as a friend.
I don't know.
It could backfire. That's a
yeah.
big time move. I get it.
The safe move is Espada.
It probably will be Espada. 361-882-5397. Hour 2 is coming up next on the Sunday Sports Rush. We're leading off with some NFL headlines and some more of your scary, intense sports moments. We're broadcasting live from the Americana Arms Studios. Big city selections, small town prices. This is KEYS Corpus Christi. Hour 2 is coming up. Stick around. Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend, listeners worldwide. It's hour number 2 of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. I am your host, James Espinosa. I got behind the glass, producer, co-host, best friend. He's the extraordinaire. It is Adin Ducker.
Cougars, I love cougars.
You sure do. Are you going to be a cougar hunter for Halloween?
I was
going to be a safari man?
I was a clown.
Going to go capture some pelts?
I was a knockoff of the Terrifier clown. Like
you were?
Very cheap knockoff. I'm just glad that I can actually hear y'all this segment. My headset went out. My headset went out the previous segment. That's why I didn't get to talk as much.
A Malkin radio station. Yes, you're right. So here we go. We got Jerry Plemmons with us. What's up, Jerry?
Hey, just having fun.
We're just having fun on the radio. That's what we do. 361-882-5397. We're about to dive into some NFL talk, but question of the day, since it is Halloween, what is the scariest / most tense moment you've ever had as a sports fan? This comes from Anonymous. Very mysterious texter that just sent something in. Anonymous says, scary for Rangers fans when Garcia got hit on the wrist and one hell of a catch in the 10th. I think he's talking about game one. Game one, he did get hit in the wrist pretty hard, and then later on he hit the game-winning home run, so it didn't affect him too much. But that was scary. Definitely scary. Odolis, some boogeyman vibes about him this postseason. Another one I want to get to. This one comes from Lee. Lee is a Rockets fan, just prefacing. His scariest moment as a sports fan, he says, Chris Paul's hamstring and 27 straight missed threes in the Western Conference Final versus the Warriors. The Rockets had a 17-point lead in that Game 7 against Golden State and blew it. Yeah, man, that was scary, and that's also a big choke job right there.
Yeah.
I was actually rooting for the Rockets in that series. I remember.
They would have won had they gotten past the Warriors.
I think so. I think that was the Rockets' best chance to take a title in that Harden CP3 era. But damn, dude, you missed 17 straight threes.
27.
27, excuse me. Oops, sorry. Trying to give y'all too much credit. 27 straight threes. That's rough. That's definitely scary. So, if you have any more scary moments as a sports fan, hit us up on the text line 361-882-5397.
I'm so tempted to do my Scottish voice on the air, James.
Do it.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Have fun.
Come on, it's
I
Halloween.
gotta pick the. I gotta
If you
pick the
scare
right
people,
moment.
they're fine. Who cares?
Okay.
And there it is, James. I saw it. A dark apparition up in the corridor next to the studio.
Okay, I'll stop.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
6 out of 10, maybe.
Yeah,
6 out of 10.
I'll give you 6.
All right. Okay, there we go.
It could have been worse.
It could be very
I
much
have
worse.
one. I'm allowed one crazy moment per show, and that was it.
Yeah.
So there we go.
You've hit your quota.
Yeah.
And now, let's move on to some NFL headlines as week number 9 is about to get underway here momentarily. Now, what's interesting about week number 9? There is a little bit of a scheduling tidbit I wanted to get to. A weird scheduling quirk for today. There are no buys at all today. It's week 8. There are no buys. All 32 NFL teams will be in action from Thursday all the way through Monday night. No buys at all, and we're at the halfway point of the season. This hasn't happened in 12 years. It's just a weird scheduling anomaly where every team is playing today during week 8. And week 8 is typically a big bye week. You know, there's like 4, maybe 5 teams on a bye. So everybody's available today. If you're a fantasy person out there, big news for all of us because everybody's available. No buys. You don't got to manage the bye week during what is pretty much the halfway point of the season, week 8.
And I'm screwed next week because I have Mahomes and Kelsey.
So this hasn't happened in 12 years. For the most part, the NFL has been pretty consistent when it comes to buys. Week 4, 5, 6, and then they start again, usually, weeks 8, 9, 11, 12, around there. There's no official rule in place for the bye week, but once the buys start, the NFL almost always runs them in consecutive weeks until every team has a bye. So it's just one of those weird scheduling quirks. Going to be a lot of games today. Now, some news that you can use. The 49ers and quarterback Brock Purdy, he has cleared concussion protocol. He's expected to play today versus the Bengals at 3:30. That is one of the big Sunday marquee matchups. Jerry Plemmons, the 49ers have lost 2 in a row. Last game against the Vikings, Brock Purdy looked a little normal.
He looked like the last pick of the draft.
He did. Is Brock Purdy starting to come back down to earth a little bit? What do you think, Adin?
I'll give him a slight benefit of the doubt because he did get a concussion in the second half, and it was kind of like Tua last year where he got that concussion and he forgot how to play quarterback. Essentially, what you saw.
Oh my God!
I mean, I'm just being.
You're right. Yeah.
I'm just being truthful. Brock
Tua,
Purdy.
where are you? I have no clue, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy, was basically throwing to the Vikings after that happened. I will say though, I don't think he's a solid quarterback. He's competent, but I don't think he's gonna carry the Niners whenever they're in the trenches and whatnot, and you need like your quarterback to rise to the top and carry you. I don't think Brock Purdy is that guy yet. I will say though, he normally should be out this week. They probably saw a couple of Sam Darnold practices, and Shanahan was like, nah.
No, we need to rush this guy on the field
Yeah.
now. What was the stat? You gave me a stat earlier this week, Adin, concerning the 49ers.
Oh,
It was in the fourth quarter when Shanahan is trailing.
When Kyle Shanahan's Niners teams are trailing by 5 or more points, he is 5 or more points in the fourth. He is 1-38.
Wow. That's
Front runner vibes.
Yeah.
A little bit. Interesting. We'll see, man. That's a big marquee matchup because the Bengals are trying to
salvage their season.
Salvage their season. 49ers, if they lose 3 in a row, that's something that was unheard of whenever they destroyed the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
They were just a complete team that week. It seemed like once a team establishes themselves, they get torn down pretty quick.
Some more NFL headlines. The trade deadline is coming up on Tuesday, the 31st, right? And the Titans are kind of in a little bit of a fire sale. Derrick Henry, the running back, was rumored to be on the trading market, and one of the teams interested, reportedly, was our very own Dallas Cowboys. Well, the Titans have come out and said that they told Derrick Henry they have no plans to trade him, according to sources. So, trade deadline is Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Jerry Jones did say this past week on the home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan up in Dallas. He did say that he is interested in making trades, but essentially he's not going to be the one initiating trade talks. That was Jerry's quote. Do we buy Jerry Jones staying put, not making a trade, or do you think this is just Jerry's smokescreen season and he's trying to get somebody to help the Cowboys? Because the Cowboys' running game with Tony Pollard has not been the best, Jerry Plemmons. What do you think?
He needs to make a move. We got to get an offensive lineman in there just for depth. I agree. It's smokescreen for him. He can't just sit there and not pull a trigger on something. You think? I mean, this is.
I don't think so. And in the past couple of seasons, he has made some trades. Last year, they brought in Jonathan Hankins.
And that was a good
the
trade.
Defensive tackle. It was a decent trade. Pretty good trade, yeah. So I think they'll do something to that degree. I don't think a blockbuster
No, it
marquee
won't be a
name.
blockbuster.
No Patrick Surtain from the Broncos.
No DeAndre Hopkins.
No Hopkins. No Jerry Jeudy. Nothing like that. I think they'll bring in just
But
serviceable guys.
It's frustrating because you see what the Eagles are doing. They're making these little trades. They got Kevin Byard and Randy Gregory going to the Niners. They're little things that they're improving those teams, and the Cowboys aren't doing any of that.
And the Eagles also signed Julio Jones for what it's worth. I mean,
But they're trying to improve their roster, and they're doing it in great ways.
We like our guys.
Yeah, that's what he
we
said.
love our guys. Go ahead.
I will say, I think it's all going to be dependent on how the Cowboys look versus the Rams. I feel like if the Cowboys win decisively, the Cowboys are going to stay put. But say the Cowboys lose to the Rams, I think there's going to be a little bit more desperation from the Jones family.
And it's a big game against the Rams today. And we're going to preview that here in the next segment, of course, when we scout the Rams here momentarily. But a big, pivotal stretch for the Cowboys coming up. 5 of the next 7 are at home. Got the Rams today. You got the Eagles next week on Sunday Night Football. You have to get the victory against the Rams. And you're right, Adin. Let's say they come out looking flat. Offense is lethargic. They're looking pretty much the same they've looked all season long. I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry Jones gets desperate. A desperate Jerry Jones is known to do anything. Am I correct, Jerry?
You're absolutely correct, but it's desperate Jerry Jones is usually not a good Jerry Jones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a good thing. It's not a great thing at all. It can be a damn near horror movie.
I mean, but there are times sometimes you can strike lightning and trade for Amari Cooper. He did do that.
Or you can also trade him away for nothing, and that's.
He can also sign
move. I mean,
he can also sign Michael Gallup after he tears his ACL to a 5-year contract.
That's a scary situation in its own right. Quarterbacks who are out today. Justin Fields is out, not playing. Tyson, how do you say his name?
Baggett, yeah.
Tyson Baggett.
That's a great story. I love that story.
He's starting again today. He won last week against the Raiders.
He did okay.
Yeah, not bad. The Division II quarterback out of Colorado School of the Mines.
No, he's from Shepherd.
Oh, is it Shepherd?
Shepherd in West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well, whichever school he came from, Shepherd is also a D2 school. Awesome job by him. Tannehill's out versus the Falcons. Will Levis is going to make his first start for the Titans.
Maalik's supposed to play some too, so we're trying to figure out what they're doing there.
Yeah, let's see if his mayonnaise-infused coffee is going to help him out in this one.
Daniel Jones is out once again for the Giants. Tyrod Taylor to start versus the Eagles. And I said this the past couple of weeks, and I got my upset special right last week. I did call the Giants winning against the Commanders. Tyrod Taylor,
if you're a Giants
he runs
fan,
the Giants offense a little bit better.
Giants fan, yeah. Is that who you want?
If you want to win, I think it's Tyrod Taylor.
Well, no, I think also Tyrod's also had the luxury of Saquon being back too, where when Saquon helped out Daniel Jones a lot. I know Daniel Jones he's not a franchise quarterback in my opinion.
But he's paid like one now. The Giants came into the year, he was their franchise.
But Daniel Jones plays a lot better when Saquon's in the backfield as opposed to when he's not.
Daniel Jones makes as much money as Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
Think about that.
I
they got the same contract, a little bit different guarantees, but essentially they're making the same kind of coin.
I don't think he runs the offense that much better. I mean, the Giants' defense is what's been keeping it, has been improving the last couple weeks.
They're playing very well.
And for the Browns, Deshaun Watson is out once again for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I don't like the Browns, man.
That was a mess of a game last week for them. That they won, but Deshaun...
They barely squeaked it out against the
Colts. 1 for 5 with an interception, and the passes he were throwing were like, your son could have thrown better passes than he was throwing.
Probably so. Deshaun needed a little bit. I guess.
What happened to him?
He as of late, he's not as sure-handed. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really have a firm grasp on things anymore.
Is it the Cleveland Brown quarterback curse or something? Because he was great with Houston, and then he cannot just.
He had a couple of magical years with Houston, and then once those massage therapists, pretty much massaged the life force out of him.
That had to be it.
That was kind of it. Like, he lost all his juice.
Yeah.
So there we go. That wraps up our Week
Be careful.
8 NFL.
He lost his mojo.
Headline. Yeah, exactly.
You can say mojo's the word. Mojo is the word you were looking for.
I lost my mojo, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Austin Powers back in the day.
Yeah,
exactly.
that was the word you were looking for.
Exactly. That wraps up NFL headlines. Coming up next, we are going to scout the Rams, and we'll give you our official Cowboys and Rams predictions. 11 o'clock is the pregame. 12 o'clock is the kickoff right here on News Talk KEYS. We talk Cowboys after the break. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 138. It's James Espinosa, it's Adin Ducker, it's Jerry Plemmons with you. Coming up in about 15 minutes, Alex Weister will join us on the line for our NFL Week 8 Pick'em segment. Going to pick some NFL games, give you our thoughts on today's slate. All of that coming up in about 15 minutes. Right now, we got no time to waste. Let's go ahead and let's dive right on into Cowboys versus Rams. It's going down on these very airwaves. 11 a.m. kickoff. 11 a.m. pregame. God, I'm so confused today. 11 a.m. pregame, 12 p.m. noon kickoff. So we are leading you right into the pregame coverage and then the kickoff. And then after that, a postgame show. It's all going down on Keys today, your home of the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys versus Rams. Now, let's go ahead and look at this one. Injury report. The Cowboys, relatively clean.
Good shape, yeah.
Tyron Smith was limited on Thursday. Gonna have to check the Twitter here in a little bit because I'm pretty sure the inactives are coming out at any moment. But Tyron Smith, as of right now, slated to play. Some quick facts. The history of Cowboys and Rams goes back pretty deep. The Rams are actually tied with the 49ers as the opponent that Cowboys have faced the most in the postseason. 9 times. You don't really think Cowboys-Rams playoffs. You think, Cowboys-Niners, Cowboys, Packers, right? They've had some battles over the years. Cowboys-Rams, a pretty rivalry that goes deep all the way to the 70s.
Yeah, I remember the last time they faced in the playoffs.
C.J. Anderson,
and even a one-legged Todd Gurley.
What was that, 2018
divisional round. I told this to James a few weeks ago. I thought that was actually the Cowboys' best chance to make a Super Bowl.
No.
That year. No, because that's the only team they've lost to in the playoffs in the past 27 years that actually made the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Was the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams eventually did beat the Saints, and then the Rams.
Well, the Giants as
Giants
well.
won.
No, 07. Yeah,
The Giants in 07.
That one too.
That
Yeah.
one, the Cowboys had number one
But
seed.
but I'm talking about recently.
Oh, recently, yeah.
in the Dak Prescott era.
But still, even that year, I didn't think they weren't there. They weren't going to get there.
Some by the numbers stats for you for this game. Dallas has won 3 of the last 5 meetings. The last Cowboys win came just last season, October 9th, when they beat the Rams 22-10 in Los Angeles. Dallas has won 10 straight games at AT&T Stadium, dating back to 2022. That is the longest active streak in the NFL.
So it's possible for a team to win games at home?
Yes, this team.
I didn't know that was a possible thing.
They've turned AT&T Stadium into sort of a fortress, and it used to be kind of a laughing stock, like, oh, the Cowboys don't have a home field advantage. Dude, they've won 10 in a row. Like, it's becoming a tougher place to play.
What did the Cowboys do to the Astros? Did they take their home field like magic away?
Possibly so. The next
used to be the other way around.
The next 5 of the 7 are at home for the Cowboys. Rams at Eagles versus Giants at Panthers versus Commanders versus Seahawks. Pivotal stretch of the season right here. You got to win at least 5 of these.
Yeah, 'cause when you see
maybe
what-
6.
After that, it's scary.
December gets pretty hard. The Rams are 16th in scoring average at 22 points per game. They're 6th in total offense at about 365 yards per game. 7th in passing offense. Matthew Stafford, he has Cooper Kupp back. He has Puka Nacua in there. He has Ty Atwell. Tutu Atwell in there. It's a tough wide receiver core. It really is. And if the Cowboys are not playing discipline on defense, if they're not getting the pass rush to Matthew Stafford, he can sit back all day and he can tear you up, Jerry
They're a
Plemmons.
quick wide receiving core, which the Cowboys
Yes.
have problems with those type of receivers.
They do. And it's how's Gilmore going to match up with Kupp or with Nacua? Deron Bland, of course, he's been looking pretty decent in the replacement of Trevon Diggs.
Yeah, PFF had him rate him number 1, and I was surprised by that.
That is a pretty. Their rankings are
Yeah, their
sometimes
rankings are a little wonky. They're hard to figure out.
A little
but
weird sometimes. Yeah, I would say.
I mean, I think him and Tyreek have been the 2 best, like in terms of like fantasy production. Him, Nacua, and Tyreek. So I mean, yeah,
It's going to be tough, man. Look, it's a tough matchup in that respect, right? But
yeah.
when the Cowboys do have the ball, the Cowboys have to get the run game going. 119 yards rushing per game. It's 10th in the NFL. It's not bad.
if it's 10th, it doesn't feel like it's 10th.
It does not feel it. Tony Pollard has not been as productive as one might have hoped he has been. Tony Pollard against the Chargers, 15 carries, 30 yards, 2 yards per average. Against the Niners, 8 carries, 29 yards, 3.6 per average. Against the Patriots, 11 carries, 47 yards, 4.3 per average. Those are his last 3 games totals. It hasn't been anything to say, wow, Tony Pollard, he's our future running back number 1. We got to give Tony Pollard an extension. We got to sign him long term. I don't see that.
And the emphasis of the year was going to be get the running game going, and they haven't done it.
And at the same time, the Cowboys' offensive line, they haven't been as strong this year, Jerry Plemmons.
I don't understand it.
They're not what they once were.
I'm even noticing a slight step back in performance with Zach Martin.
Yeah.
And he got that contract, and I was one of those guys that was championing him, like, get Zach Martin that contract, and he's playing okay.
I wonder if
playing
he's hurt.
all right.
He's long in the tooth now a little bit.
Yeah.
Think about it, man. I mean, look, he's getting older and older, and that's not a slight against him. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a multi-time All-Pro guard. Father time catches up to everybody. I'm not saying that's the case with Martin, but maybe there is a slight slippage in his play.
And Terrence Steele has been awful this year. That they gave him the big contract, and his performance has really gone downhill.
The best
off of I mean, did he give him the contract before the injury or afterwards?
after.
Did another injury?
Well, he got hurt last season.
Yes.
I know, but
They gave him the
they gave him
contract
like
in
in
the
August,
offseason.
yeah.
Yeah.
another injury contract.
Well, we'll see, right? That's what the
Yeah.
Cowboys. The
That's
Cowboys
what they
like to
do.
do that.
The one thing I've noticed with the Rams though is that, man, it's just this team, and I was high on this team. I thought they were gonna make the playoffs, but they've kind of lost games. Like they completely sold against the Steelers, and they're kind of been a little disappointed. I thought they would rebound after the disappointment and injuries of last season, but there's something they don't have that championship medal that they should be having when they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
The Rams have 4 losses. 3 of them are to the 49ers, Eagles, and Bengals. But, yeah, I mean, they've lost to some tough
I
teams.
mean, but they look mid.
Yeah.
They have wins against the Colts and Cardinals. I mean, you know, They're okay. We don't know what this Rams team really is.
We don't.
To be honest with you.
In their run game, Kyron Williams was doing really good for them, and he's out. So we don't know who their running back's going to be.
The Cowboys have 16 total sacks this season.
Which is way low.
That's pretty low. That's not even in the top 10. After a week 1 performance where they had 7 sacks and a week 3 performance where they had 3 more, since then, the Cowboys have 6 sacks. That would rank them 29th in the NFL in the past month in sacks. They're not getting to the quarterback. They're not hitting him. If they can't hit Matthew Stafford, it's going to be a long day for the Cowboys. So, let's go ahead and let's get to it. Who wins the game, Jerry Plemmons? Give me your prediction.
Well, the Rams won't be able to run the ball. I'm thinking the Cowboys have the bye week. Everything lines up for the Cowboys to have a big game, and I think they're going to go ahead and do it.
What's the score?
31-21.
31-21. Aiden, what about you?
I got the Cowboys by a touchdown. Probably give me the Cowboys 24, Rams 17.
24-17.
Something like that. I've been picky for the Rams and they just haven't impressed me enough to pick them against the Cowboys.
Okay. I got you right there. Got y'all down. We are coming up on the hard out, so I'm going to save my pick at the beginning of next segment whenever Alex Weister does make his pick as well. But Cowboys and Rams, it's going down today, 11 a.m. pregame, 12 o'clock kickoff right here on News Talk KEYS. All right. When we come back, we do have our NFL pick'em for week number 9. We will get to it. We will talk about it. Week number 8, I should say, as I'm messing everything up today. Stick around. It is the Sunday Sports Rush. Sunday Sports Rush episode 138. James Espinosa, Adin Ducker, and Jerry Plemmons with you. We're about to make our NFL picks. The question of the day was, what is the most scariest / tense moment you've ever had as a sports fan? My good friend Sonny texted me. He says, "Get him, James. Damn it, my Rockets." And he's all, "Anytime Dallas beats Philadelphia, it's scary. Ha ha ha." My friend Sonny is an Eagles fan.
Oh, because it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Possibly. Jerry. It's a knee slapper.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sonny. I appreciate you getting in. 361-882-5397. I appreciate you listening to the show, my man. It is much love from this side all the way to you. Even though you're an Eagles fan, I can let that slide just a little bit. And you're a Rockets fan also.
Wow.
Okay. I'll let it slide.
He's pushing it, though.
Yeah, Sonny's a good guy. All righty, we'll get to more of your scariest / tense moments as a sports fan in our sports grab bag, because I got a lot to read. That'll help us kill a segment, and we'll end the show. But right now, we have DFW's superstar. We have Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Texan Live's #1 color commentator, the best cameraman they have ever had. It is Alex Weister.
What's up, boys? I've had a crazy weekend.
You have, dude. You were at 2 top 10 high school matchups this week. First and foremost, you had Southlake and Byron Nelson, which you were on commentary for. And then yesterday, you had the privilege of running camera for Duncanville and DeSoto. How awesome was that? If you could quickly surmise, how great was your weekend?
It was crazy. Both games had upsets. Byron Nelson beating Southlake Carroll for the first time in their school history. DeSoto beating Duncanville pretty convincingly, might I add, in the first time in 5 years. It was just amazing. There's going to be a lot of shaking up in the playoffs this year for high school football. I can feel it.
There we go. We're with Alex Weister, our good friend, Sports Rush's own, Dave Campbell's own, UNT's own. He is a UNT Mean Green, Jerry. UNT Mean Green.
Did you believe in the Mean Green?
Yeah. Did you go see UNT this weekend?
I didn't get to because I was at the Duncanville DeSoto game when they were playing against, I believe it was Memphis for the homecoming game.
Oh, okay. There we go. Well, let's go ahead and let's make some NFL picks. The standings are as follows, and I am checking my text right now. If Marcos Matakin does not get his text to me by the time this segment is over, or hell, I'll give him all the way till noon. If he doesn't get his picks in by noon, Nothing counts for him this weekend. He will take a big fat L.
And he's been talking about the Rangers in our chat too, so he has been available.
So Marcos leads the standings.
Y'all being cutthroat with him, man. Dang.
He has to get the picks in.
Yeah.
So Marcos has 48 wins. He is 7 games up on Adin, who has 41. Alex, you have 39, my guy. Alex went 1-6 last week. Adin, you went 2-5. I have 37. I went 4-5. Marcos went 6-3.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and pick some games. Adin and Jerry have already picked Cowboys and Rams. It's my turn to pick Cowboys and Rams. I feel confident in the Cowboys. They're a 6.5-point favorite at home. I'm going to go Cowboys, and I have it written down. Cowboys 28, Rams 21. 28-21, Cowboys win by 7. How are you feeling about Cowboys and Rams, Alex?
I think it's going to be roughly like 30-24 for the Cowboys. I think the Rams have enough firepower on offense to get down the field and score. Despite the Cowboys' defense being decent enough, I think it's definitely going to be a higher scoring game than some people may think.
So you got
30-24 Cowboys.
Okay, 30-24 Cowboys. Yep, we're all on the Cowboys bandwagon right now. We're on that train. Let's hope it happens. Next game, Alex Weister's Saints at the Colts. The Saints are 3-4. The Colts are 3-4. The Saints are 2-point road favorites against the Colts. Colts traditionally play pretty well at home. Adin, I'm going to let you start with this one.
Yes, and this is one of the only upsets I saw that I think that I'm very confident in because they have the Saints favored by 2. Give me the Colts in this one at home. They play the Browns very tough, but they lost. I think they're going to come back with an edge, and they're going to beat the very mid to at times bad Saints.
Are you stamping this as your upset pick?
Yeah, upset.
All righty. Alex Weister, the Saints are your team. Who do you got?
So this is a game where it can go one of two ways and set the tone for the rest of the season. We can either get right like people are saying that we are going to, or the wheels can fall completely off the wagon here. And I'm hoping that it's not the wheels falling completely off the wagon, even though that's where things are trending. I'm going to stick with the Saints in this one, although it's going to be a very interesting game. I do think the Colts are going to make it close, like Adin says.
This one has the moniker of a get-right game. It's a get-right game for the Saints, as you said, Alex. And you know what? I got the Saints too, baby. When the Saints go marching in, give me the Saints for the win. Who do you got, Jerry Plemmons?
Yeah, the Colts have been playing surprisingly good ball, but the Saints their defense has been playing elite. I think the Saints will take it.
All righty, so we all go Saints except for Adin, who has his upset stamped on the Colts. Now, up next, we got Jaguars at Steelers. The Jags are 5-2. They're on the road in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are 4-2. The Steelers, I mean, look, the Steelers are a team that perplexes me every single week. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They've beaten the Ravens, and they've beaten the Rams in the last 2 weeks. The Steelers they're good. I think they're a pretty good team.
They're carried by their defense.
They're all right. And, the Jaguars are 5-2. The Jaguars are on a 4-game winning streak. They beat the Saints last week, 31-24. They beat the Colts the week before that. They've also beaten the Bills the week before that. So this is a pretty decent ball game today. Up in Pittsburgh, the Jags are a 2.5-point road favorite in Pittsburgh. Alex Weister, you get first shot at this one.
I just want to touch on that defense that Adin was harping on. I think he's talking about the defense that has allowed the 5th most rushing yards per game and is top 10 in passing yards allowed per game and is middle of the pack in points allowed per game. That very stout Steelers defense that is very bad against the pass that I think the Jags are going to pick apart.
They got torched against the Niners, but they've been solid otherwise. I mean, if you look at
it's been a 7-game slate. I'm sorry, but one game isn't going to balloon their stats
and that was
to what
week
they are.
1. That was week 1. They've grown since then.
I mean, their defense they shut down the Ravens, and then they held the Rams to under 20.
Who do you got, Alex?
I'm taking the Jags in this one.
Ooh, you almost said it. You almost said Steelers. Who do you got?
No.
Who do you got?
I never had a thought in my mind I was taking them.
Give me the Jags. The Steelers are. They're. I just don't believe that they're a 4-2 team, man. They're way lesser than that.
Jerry Plemmons?
Exactly what Adin just said. the Jags they're getting onto a good roll here.
So you got the Jags as well. Am I gonna do it? It's
You can
at
make up some.
home.
You gotta
No,
do it.
don't
Make
do
up
it.
some ground. Make some ground. Come on, do it.
No, I'm gonna go chalk. I'm going Jags. Jags on the
They
road.
have to regress back to the mean. They're a 500 team every year. They're 2 above. They have a loss to deal with.
Coming up, it is Browns at Seahawks. Browns are 4-2. Seahawks are 4-2. Browns defense, Myles Garrett, dude's on a tear. Dude is scary. Dude is probably Defensive Player of the Year frontrunner right now, in my opinion, ahead of Micah Parsons. But that's another story, right? Browns 4-2 at Seahawks. The Seahawks are 4-point favorites over the Browns. Deshaun Watson is not starting again. He has a hurt shoulder. Needs to get that rubbed out and fixed a little bit.
Crossing the line again, getting close.
But who do you got? Browns or Seahawks, Alex?
I'm going to go with the Seahawks, and I think this is a pretty easy one to pick, in my opinion. The Seahawks' run defense has been a lot better than people think it has, and P.J. Walker, to rely on him to pick apart the Seahawks' passing defense is tough to rely on, so I got the Seahawks.
Aiden.
Man, these are teams that have better records than I thought they would have had at this point of the year. But give me the Seahawks. I just think they're a little bit better than the Browns.
Jerry Plemmons, who do you got?
The same reasoning. Seahawks.
You got the big Hawks?
I got the Hawks. Yes.
Yeah.
I just don't like PJ Walker again.
I like it too. Some big Hawk energy up in Seattle. I'm down with it.
You've been out of pocket, man.
What? They're going to go caca on the Browns. Give me the Seahawks, baby. Next game up, it's the Battle of New York. It is Jets at Giants at the Meadowlands. The Jets are 3-3. The Giants are 2-5. The New York Jets are a 3-point favorite. Let me be the first to do this. I'm riding with the Giants. Give me the Giants at home. Well, I guess they're both at home.
Oh, you took it. You took it from me.
Give
I
me
hate
the
it.
Giants. They're going to win. They've looked a lot better. I even said this last week. I was like, look, they look a lot better with Tyrod. The defense is playing good. I like Tyrod as the quarterback. Giants are going to beat the Jets today. That's my upset special. Weister, you're up.
I'm going to ride with the Giants as well. Tyrod Taylor seems to have a very solid connection with Darren Waller, which I don't think anybody really expected.
Who would have
but
had
they
that?
definitely looked a lot better last week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Who had that on their bingo card? The Tyrod Taylor to Darren Waller connection. That's great. So you're going Giants?
Yes.
What about you, Jerry Plymouth?
The Jets defense is really good. Breece Hall is going to just tear up the Giants. So give me the Jets.
All right, Aiden.
I'll ride with Jerry on this one. Give me the Jets as well. I
Ooh.
feel like the Jets are coming off a bye, and the
Yeah.
Giants are coming off a decent win against the Commanders, I guess. But I think
The Commanders.
yeah.
We're split on this
I
one.
don't know.
So
Give me the Jets, though.
next game, Bengals at 49ers. It was just announced that Brock Purdy, he is going to play. He's coming off of concussion protocol. As Aiden said earlier in the show, they probably saw Sam Darnold practice a couple of times with the first-team offense and then said, you know what, damn it, Brock Purdy needs to play today. Bengals are 3-3. 49ers are 5-2. The Niners are on a 2-game losing streak, but they are a 4-point favorite at home. Who do you got, Alex Weister? I'll give you first dibs.
I think that this is going to be one of the top games in Christian McCaffrey's career. The
Ooh.
Bengals are 4th worst in rushing yards.
Nice.
And I think it's going to be very tough sledding for the Bengals. There's hard to look at any defensive metric for the Bengals and be excited about them in this game. So I'm going to roll with the Niners.
Okay, see, that's what I like about having Alex on. Like, he always brings, like, those integral stats. He's so prepared. Me, on the other hand, I'm just going with gut. I'm going straight up with gut. Maybe that's why maybe that's why I'm in last place. Jerry Plemmons, who do you got? Bengals at 49ers.
This is a make-right game for the Niners. They're gonna destroy them. I think it'll be a big win.
Oh, a make-right game. I like that. Aiden, who do you got?
Give me the Niners. I just don't see them losing 3 in a row.
Wow. Y'all guys are really sleeping on Joey B and company, huh? Y'all guys are really buying into Brock and him bouncing back after looking the way he looked against the Vikings? Okay, I just have a little bit more questions, I think, than a lot of you guys might have with Brock Purdy.
So are you going to do it? You're going to pick the Bengals?
I'm going Bengals with the win.
Right.
Bengals with the win on the road. Joey B and Chasey Beasy hook up for a lot of touchdown easies.
The Don't ever do that again. Anyway,
Sunday Night Football, Bears at Chargers. Is this one even worth it? Bears 2-5, Chargers 2-4. They have the Chargers as a damn near 10-point favorite. Is anybody willing to take the Bears in an upset against the Chargers?
give me the Chargers.
Jerry.
I'm taking the Bears. The Chargers are in free fall. The Staley have no confidence in him. They're losing their identity. I think the Bears are actually playing pretty well.
Is that your upset pick?
That's my upset pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jerry Plemmons going Bears.
Oh, and let it be known, Jerry, when his last appearance at Pick'em, he was undefeated.
He went 10-0.
Yes.
10-0. You got Chargers, Adin?
Yeah, I got Chargers.
Alex.
I'm sorry, but if Jerry gets this right, I'm going to be extremely shocked because I cannot put any faith in Tyson Bagent to lead the Bears over the Chargers.
Did it last
I
week.
just, in my right mind, can't.
Tyson. So you're going Chargers,
No,
all right.
I have to. I have to go Chargers.
I'm going Chargers as well. We got one more to pick. It's Raiders at Lions on Monday Night Football. Lions are an 8-point favorite against the Raiders. The Lions did get smacked around last week. Do the Lions come back and take pride on Monday night?
Give me the Lions in this one. They're going to bounce back. They probably had tougher practices. They're probably more focused. Yeah, give me the Lions.
Alex.
Yeah, I think that the Raiders are in for a very rude awakening with this one. I expect that Dan Campbell, as Aiden said, was probably not the nicest man to be around in practice this week.
I wouldn't
so
doubt
I'm going to roll with the Lions.
Jerry.
This is kind of a tough one. 7.5 points is a lot, but yeah, gotta take the Lions. The Raiders, they're trash.
Lions. And that will do it for
Alex,
our
did you choose
pick'em.
your upset?
Oh, Alex does not
Yes,
have an upset.
I do have my upset.
Okay, go for
While
it.
there is slim pickings around, I am going to roll with the Packers over the Vikings.
You know, I agree with that one.
That's a good one.
The Vikings they think they're the best now, and the Packers are gonna show
Man,
them.
Jordan Love's been really disappointing, though.
Yeah.
He has been.
I'm really banking on Aaron Jones here. That's really what I'm banking on.
So there we go. That wraps up our pick'em. Alex, you have a good rest of your day, my guy. And we'll catch up
As
here
always,
very
you guys
soon.
too.
Thank you, sir. There goes Alex Weister. That's our NFL pick'em. Marcos, get your picks in. When we come back, we got some sports grab bag. We got some audio to play and some comments to get to. Keep it locked. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 136. Last segment with you, James, Aiden, and Jerry Plemmons. Appreciate Alex Weister for getting on in. We do have our scariest, most tense moments as a sports fan. We got a lot of you guys to get to, so we're going to go ahead and do that here. As it's Halloween season. Ooh, spooky. Anthony Gonzalez is in here. 361-882-5397. His scariest sports moment occurred last year. Zeke at center in a playoff game.
Was that scary or comedic?
It was so scary, it was funny. It was like one of those, it was like a horror comedy.
It was scary for Zeke, I think.
Yeah, it was like scary movie.
Yeah.
Like it was a horror but a comedy at the same time. Yes, I agree with that. Give me some Halloween music, please, Aiden, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
So we could do some spookiness. We got Bill Denton in here with his scariest / most tense moment as a sports fan. He says every Dallas Cowboys game since 1997. I will, no matter what, I'll be feeling pretty tense today against the Rams. I mean, we all picked them to win, the Cowboys. But still, you never know with this team.
You never know.
It's very Jekyll and Hyde at times, especially since 1997. That's a good one, Bill. That's a good one. Another scary moment coming in from Raul. Appreciate you getting in. Raul says, Game 7, Kobe and the Lakers' fourth quarter comeback to snatch the title away from Boston. Is that the Ron Artest Meta World Peace three-pointer?
Okay, yeah, they did make a comeback.
They did.
They were down 14 in the third.
Yes. And remember, Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, he made like a clutch three-pointer.
He had to go up 6.
That was big.
Yeah, the Celtics didn't go away, and then it took those clutch free throws from Vujicic to secure that. But yeah, that was a... Yeah, I could probably... If you're a Lakers fan, that's probably a very tense night. But
Joey's in here. Joey says the most scary / tense moment he had as a sports fan was when Bernard Pollard took out Brady and tore his ACL. That was horrible.
He is the scariest person in all of Pat's fandom. He ended Brady's 08 season. He ended Wes Welker's season in 09. he injured Gronk into the 2011 AFC title game, and he was
Jeez.
and Gronk was ineffective in the Super Bowl against the Giants, which they lost, the second one. And he also forced a fumble on Stephen Ridley in that in the following AFC title game against
He's
the
like
Ravens.
Freddy Krueger. He's in your dreams.
Yeah,
That's wild.
he's known as a Patriot killer.
I didn't know Bernard Pollard had that deep of a history. I knew the Brady thing. I
Yeah.
forgot about the other ones, to
yeah,
be honest
he
with you.
single-handedly ended four seasons of the past, basically.
That is brutal right there. We got one coming in from War Eagle on Twitter. War Eagle says, January 13th, 1991 was the worst sports moment for me. And then he sent a picture of whenever Bo Jackson broke his hip
Oh, yeah.
against the Bengals. It's War Eagle, of course, an Auburn fan, a Bo Jackson fan.
What could have been? A few
That's
more
pretty
years,
tough
bro.
right there. That one is definitely pretty tough. And he says it's still traumatic to him till this day.
Another scary, I guess, a sound was the Howie Kendrick foul pole homer in Game 7. They gave the Nats the lead.
That was tough, dude.
Astros fans said that was probably the loudest they've ever heard the foul pole, like, ever.
Courtney,
That's a scary sound.
Courtney's in here. Courtney says his scary sports moment was the Dez drop.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That one's rough. That one's up there with me.
That ties into Aaron Rodgers as well.
Yeah, that one is part of the Aaron Rodgers boogeyman with me. It's also part of Spurs Game 6 2013 for me. And then I guess you could even say this most recently, Game 7 Astros Rangers. That was just a night of horrors. It really was. It wasn't tense as much as it was just horrifying.
Kicked in the nuts over and over again.
Yes, repeatedly.
I mean, Adolis Garcia himself.
Yeah, that dude. Scary man.
Woo,
Scary
spooky,
man.
spooky.
Don't forget, we got pregame coming up immediately as soon as we're off the air. And then 12 o'clock, we got Cowboys and Rams. Jerry Plemmons, thank you for being here.
Awesome. I'm always happy to be here.
It's always awesome to have you, my man. Appreciate everybody who got in on the text line, on the socials. Love you guys so much. Y'all make this fun. Love interacting with y'all. Aiden, great job.
Yeah.
For Aiden Ducker, Jerry Plemmons, I am James Espinosa. No more questions. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Let's go, Cowboys. The Cowboys pregame show is up next. It is happening right now.